everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Cindy with Moonfire Studios, and today I have some digitals that were provided by Dreaming Hearts Company, and I will put her links in the description box below. She has some super pretty digitals in her shop. I did this one on some vellum. I've got, I don't know if you can see that. But there's little tiny, lots of little speckly fibers in this one, and it has a neat linen texture. There's another vellum. I did this one in the regular linen paper, and I did this one in the vellum, so you can see the difference, and they both print out beautifully. And this one, this set is the Ledger with Faded Florals, I believe. I will put the correct title, if that's not it, down below, so you can see. This one's beautiful. And recently I had these on Instagram and I didn't know what to do with them. There were a couple suggestions. A small book with tags and pockets, which I will probably do as well. But I wanted to take at least one of these, and I have these little boxes. They're just, you know, the little balsa wood ones from the craft store, and I want to decorate them to help me contain some of my stickers and you know, all those lovely doodaddle things that we collect. So I really like, I think this one for the top of this box, but I'm not sure. That one's really pretty too. Some of these I put on coffee dyed paper and ran that through my printer. Well, that's kind of neat. Oh gosh, now I can't decide. I am being terrible for decisions right now, you guys. What's going on? I think I'll stay with this one. Because I think I might do some fun antiquing over top of it. Yeah, I think this one. And it would be easier for the products to stick on the linen type paper. Okay, so I'm going to put my glass mat down just because it's easier for me. I can just wipe it off or blot up extra inks and papers on it. So I'm going to start with just the top, and you can sand down in between these things if you want to. It's pretty smooth already. Yep, pretty smooth already, so I'm just going to leave those little bits in there. I'm going to cut the paper after it's glued on through the lines. Anywho, what I'm going to do is, this is just a mixture of the tacky glue and water. And may have made it a little bit runny, but that's okay. You can use just straight glue on here if you want to. But I find if it's a little bit liquidy, it grabs into the paper more and sometimes can turn it a little translucent. So that will make it look even more aged. And there is no rhyme or reason, I'm just blobbing it on. As you can see, making little puddles, and the wood's really dry, so it's actually going to soak up a lot of the water. You certainly could use your collage mediums, this, that, and the other, but I only have a small amount of that left, and you know, this has served its purpose for how many years? So that's what I'm using. Okay, and just figure out where you want your design to be and stick it on. I just give it a good rub to make sure everything contacts with the wood. And this is why I use a glass mat. And you certainly could use just a spare piece of paper, or if you can get a grocery bag that's the paper kind, just put that underneath. Whatever. Use whatever you can. And you can see I kind of ripped it there. I don't mind. That's fine with me because I'm going to make it look distressed anyway. Okay. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to wrap the sides, but I think only the top and the bottom. Maybe I'll wrap, no, I'll just go ahead and wrap the whole thing. I'm just going to make it very simple, and so I don't have to like miter things and measure. I'm just going to pinch the corners down, and I'll fold this over just to make a nice line. But I'm just going to pinch it like this together, and then when I'm done, I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, this is nice and dry now, so I'm just going to trim around. But definitely save these pieces because we can use these in other places and other things. So, have a little sanding cloth or sanding block, and I'm just going to go right along the edges. I will speed this up so you guys don't have to hear the sanding noise in case you're noise sensitive. If you don't have a sanding block, you can always use an emery board or a nail file. Okay, so we are all sanded and trimmed up, and now let's brush some of this sandy bit away. Okay, And now there's the lines in between the slats, and I want those to poke out, or I want those to be visible, not covered up by the paper. So all I'm going to do is you can take the end of a paintbrush, you can take a scoring tool, you can take the back side of a butter knife. I'm just making my grooves visible for me so I know where to poke through. You can use a pencil. Heck, you can probably, you can even use your fingernail. Like so. But I'm just going to use my scraper doodad because I can get a nice clean chop right through. Okay, and you can either leave it like that, or you can take your, if you have a thin enough nail file, you can just kind of go through.
And again, I will be right back, which for me it'll probably take like 10-15 minutes, but for you it's instantaneous. Woohoo!
Okay, everybody, we have the top all covered in paper. And I sanded all the corners and the little in between the slats, and just kind of brush off the excess sandy bits. And I looked over and saw this Veritone ink, heat activated, that I've had on my shelf for quite a while. It's a refill, but you let it dry on there and then you heat it up and it gives this yellowy brownish tone, kind of like the lemon trick, I guess, is the closest I can describe it. So I'm gonna try this and just kind of gonna put a bunch of dotty things on there. Maybe blop it, I don't really know.
Okay, so really not so much impressed. I could probably do the same thing, only maybe better with a weak coffee. But it does kind of give a neat shiny. Well, I just rubbed the shiny off, but anyway.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it's because it's old or maybe the ink, I don't know, that's on the paper, because it is laser printed. The ink is actually waterproof, so that might have an effect on it. But you can see there's where I put a big dollop of it. Came out kind of neat looking. So I don't know, maybe I'll just kind of pour it all out and dunk some papers in there and stick them in the oven or something. Any hoozle. I have glass bead glitter gel from Faber-Castell. I really think that's stuck. That is cool. It has some glitter to it, some shine and stuff, but when it dries clear and you just get the little beaded texture. I think that's pretty cool. I have a tiny bit of this antiquing gel from Delta. Again, this has been on my shelf forever and ever and ever, called Texture Magic, and I think I'm pretty close to being out. I also have the Nouveau embellishment mousses, one in the gold color and one in the Persian red. So I might try putting those a little over and a little under this one. And just gonna see, blop it around. As you can see, it's kind of a little runny, but not too much. I didn't squeeze it around the tube there, so I'm just gonna kind of blop it in places. And just sort of do a little bit of a smear. Take some off, put some more on. Make sure to get the corners. And then I just take a dry finger and kind of pull it out or towards the center to give it that not harsh edge. And remember to leave some places darker because it's not naturally going to be the same tone. And you can pat it, you can brush it, use whatever you like. Okay, so I think I really like that look. And it's a little bit tacky, so I'm going to let it dry really, really, really well. And get started on the sides of the box. So, how do we want this? I think I want to use maybe the vellum for the sides. I don't know. I think the wood grain through the vellum is a little too much on the eyes for the writing. So, well, that's pretty cool. What do you guys think? I think I'll do that. Okay. So, let me put the lid on this real quick. And now that we're figuring out the style for the top, we can do it on the sides. The only thing you want to make sure of is when you close this, okay, there is already wiggle room on there for you, so you shouldn't have to worry about the thinner printing paper to go on. Okay, I have all the outside done, and I wanted to show you, this is the bottom, and if you kind of sand it a little before the glue is completely dry, where it has the little sometimes you get like the bumpies and things like that in there, or where the glue hasn't quite set already, you can very lightly take your sanding block over it, and you'll get this effect of where it just kind of takes away that little bit. So if you don't want to put like the brown on there, or the distress, or anything else on it, that's what that will look like. But I wanted to show you how I did the inside before I put the stuff on the bottom, so it can set upside down to dry. Basically, you just kind of take your sheet and lay it in there, and you can see some I've run into the bottom. This one I have not. It really is just personal preference if you choose to do it that way, but I just kind of stick it in here and figure out, line it up where I want it, and put a crease in one or both sides, and then I just kind of roughly cut in, and I want to keep it that size because I'm putting the antique stuff in. It's just a little bit easier that way. I don't have to worry about overlapping the corners. You can. I kind of did on this one, where I just kind of wrapped it around a little bit, but this one I did not, and that one I didn't. So I'm just going to basically stick it in there, put some glue on it. Now for the outside, I did wrap it around to the inside. You can, maybe you can see on this one, it's kind of white, but I did wrap it around the top, so I didn't leave the edges open. You certainly could if you wanted to. Piece to go on the bottom, but I think I want to put another flower inside of the bottom, so when you open it, underneath all whatever's going in it, there's pretty flower in the bottom also. That one's kind of neat. And as you can see, the lid had wiggle room, so it still fits. If you needed to, if you had a different type of box, I would just sand down the top part of the outside where this slides over, and that will give you back your space, but you'll still have the vintage aesthetic. So let's see, if we have that one, and we open up and there's that one, or we open up and there's that one. I think I like this one better. So what I'm going to do is, so I don't have to take a ruler, I'm just going to put the box over top of where I want it to be, and trace around. And I usually have this problem, which is why I love these tweezers. These are Tonic Studio tweezers. They have both the bypass where you squeeze and it opens, and if you pinch down below, it keeps it closed like regular tweezers. So you can just kind of do this, and it works really well. And they are super pointy and get in the best of places. And they have a neat end to it. I like to use that for grabbing stickers and things like that. So I'm going to line it up. I'm not quite putting my flowers directly in the center, just because that's my personal preference. And then you can also take the end of the tweezers and do like a little score line around the edge so you get the correct shape that you need for the inside. There. Okay, and now we'll get a little bit more of this stuff. And like I said, you can see there is no rhyme or reason to how I'm putting this on. I'm just sort of squishing it into the corners and then pulling out from there. And if it needs to be to where you need it to move around a little bit more, or it's getting dried out, or if you just have a little bit left to do and you don't know if you have enough to cover it, this one, since it's called antiquing gel, so but it's like water soluble, so if you put the just kind of spray it a little bit, and then you can do some thinner coats or some light splotchiness, whatever you choose. And I really want more in those cracks, so I think I'm going to use my paintbrush and maybe get a little more wet so that I can maneuver it around. Okay, now we will let that dry. Oh, I have to put it on the bottom to show you a direct to project. Now, you think that oh, I messed up. It's a horrible blob. It's okay, because it's a gel. Like I said, you can just maneuver it around, and before it gets too dry, just spritz it a little with water. Now I can do that because it's on laser printer. It was laser printed, so my ink is waterproof. The paper is not waterproof, but the ink is waterproof. So if you print on a waterproof item, a vellum or something like that, you don't have to worry about your paper curling or pilling or coming apart. But I want the bottom to be darker than the rest because it's the bottom. And I actually like this a lot, so I may do this more on the sides too. Maybe even the top. And then this is kind of damp, so I'm just going to lightly buff scuffs into it. And I took off more than I wanted, but that's okay. I'm going to let it dry. So I wanted to show you, I got this look, which I really like more than this one. And the way I did that was, so I literally put like a dot on there, and I just misted it. I started at the bottom so it's deeper down there, and then just wiped it on. And I really like how that turned out. I'm going to do that on the bottom. Okay. And to make the sides match a little better, I'll do it on here. And very lightly on top, because I'm afraid if I put it too much, I'll lose the flower image. But I think that's actually being okay. There. That looks pretty decent. What do you guys think? Cool, yeah? Okay. Oh, I gotta do the inside of the top. I think I will just make that brown instead of having another image on the inside. I think that might be a little too confusing, but I really like this. So